All right, welcome to another episode of Beyond Coaching. Got somebody I've long admired, even before I met him personally, in Kirk Kelley, who is the Oklahoma Wesleyan University athletic director and head baseball coach. So, Kirk, thanks for letting me talk you into coming on the show.
Hey, I appreciate it, Rob. The technology got me, but I'm excited to be on this.
I was not surprised by that, but I want to start out with a story about you because I knew you before you knew me. I'm pretty sure it was my first college baseball game I ever coached. I was at an assistant baseball coach at Mid-American Nazarene. We traveled down to Arkansas to play our opening series of the year. And like rain happens or something, and there's a dry field that everybody's playing at that day. And I can't remember if we were playing you or you played before us, but I watched some young alums that had played for you come running on the field and give you the biggest bear hug. And I was just like, that's a guy that develops good relationships with his players. Just kind of came across so genuine. So yeah, been a long time admirer, and that's why I invited you on. Wanted to hear just about how you do what you do, build relationships and connect with kids, because I'm not sure I see many that do it better. So anyways, that's the intro of trying to make you feel really good. But share a little bit for a few minutes just about growing up, like how you got into sports, the coaches you had. Just share a little bit about your experiences there.
Yeah, first of all, that story put tears in my eyes because that's why I do coach. It is about relationship. But I went to high school in Sarasota, played at Sarasota, Florida, played every sport, and went to college and played football and baseball. And really, my first year out of playing, I got right into coaching and have been doing it ever since. And I've never felt like I've had a job. It's been fun to come to work every single day.
Mm-hmm. So why'd you get into coaching? What was it about it that made you go there?
At the time, it was just my love for the sport and the strategy of the game and things like that. But it quickly changed. It became about the players and about the program, and it's like you said, it's the relationships. It's the relationship with players, other coaches, other athletic directors. I mean, that's the best part of this job.
So when you look at how long you've been in coaching, 25 years, somewhere around there? Longer?
35.
You're aging well. I didn't know you're that old. How do you feel like you've had to change over time as you've gotten older, more separation from the kids, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think this may be a dumb answer, but it's my truthful answer, is I don't think I have changed. And I'm going to go to the old thing that players haven't changed, coaches have. I think over time, coaches have accepted things and compromised on things, and I've been pretty stubborn, and I don't think I've changed. And I think that way they see who I really am, good, bad, or ugly. And but that's how I'm going to continue to do it.
So say more on that. Like, where have you decided to be stubborn and say, hey, I'm not changing here?
It's everything. I know that's a cheap answer, but it's being on time. It's how you act. It's when we travel, how do you act? It's, how do you address people? How do you represent our program? How do you handle bad calls on the field? I mean, just every single thing. And, it's a team sport, and I want us to all be together. And I always tell our guys the biggest compliment you can ever get when you're done playing is that your former teammates call you a great teammate. And that's what I emphasize over and over.
Yeah. I feel like I tried to look up before we talked how many wins you've had in your career, and I couldn't find it. But I mean, it's got to be hundreds. The talent you have in teaching them to be good teammates, that ain't easy. What is that? I mean, what's the magic sauce, so to speak? Or you get all these talented dudes. I mean, you've been to multiple World Series. I mean, teaching them those things with a lot of highly competitive type A guys that can really play. When you say it, it makes it sound easy, but it's not. So do you have any specific strategies that you've tried and how you do it?
It starts with I always tell them the truth, and that's whether they've done something good, bad, where they fall in the pecking order. I think that's where it starts. And then I think if you show them that you care about them, I know that's kind of a cliche, but I know that if you talk to any of my players, they're going to tell you that I'm a grown man, but I'm fine telling a player I love them. I'm fine with that. And one thing I'm very proud of is close to 50 of my former players are college baseball coaches right now. So that tells me that hopefully we're doing it right and continue with the passion. I think we play the old school way of baseball, and it kind of goes back to I'm not going to compromise on that either. I think there's one way to play this game.
I'm still thinking about the 50 former players. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Any of them beat you yet?
Actually, two really neat stories. When I left Lyon College, my assistant, Tony Repke, became the head coach, and his first college win was against me. And I don't know if there's anything that's been better than giving him the ball after the game.
Oh, cool.
And telling him, I was proud of him. The same thing happened to his name's John Harvey. Now he's the head coach at Arkansas Monticello. At the time, he was at Henderson State. Again, his first college win was against me. So I guess they're better than me. But over time, we got those guys back. But there was nothing more gratifying to me than giving him the ball. And when I gave it to Tony, it was at home plate between a doubleheader. And we were both teared up, and it was special.
Cool. So you have a unique role that's not a lot of people are doing now, where you're an athletic director and the head baseball coach. Why do you talk about why you do both and some of the challenges you face?
I love both of them. I really do. And if I had to give one up, I don't know which one I'd give up. But the challenge is obviously is making sure you give everybody the time and energy they deserve. And I think if anything, sometimes as an AD, I cheat the baseball program. But, I want to, I don't know, like to spread my wings and help young coaches and see them succeed. And it's fun to share in their success.
Yeah. How long you been doing both?
Probably 12 years, 13 years.
Okay. So one thing, I've never done both. I went straight from one to the other. And I was surprised in some ways how different it was from and I shouldn't have been, I don't think, 18 to 22-year-olds to leading adults, because they're not just going to do what you say.
Right.
And I know of you, a few coaches, great people, they're not going to just do it because you said so sometimes. Do you have anything that comes to mind of different strategies or different ways you communicate with coaches as opposed to your team and trying to help them develop?
Not really. I think it's like you said, there's definitely differences, but I think you're still coaching them. But I try not to put myself above them. I try to put myself level with them. And I think that helps in the communication, everything. And I know as an AD too, and I'm not saying this just because I'm on your podcast, there's 4 or 5 guys that, as an AD, if I need something, they're who I call and they're who I text, and you probably get sick of them. But, it's out of respect because we all learn from each other too.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. So I don't know if you know him, Dustin Gallion is our golf coach here, used to be a basketball coach. And so we're partnering like on this podcast and some other stuff of how we can get resources out there to lead and coach the 21st century athlete effectively, because it's who we got. And I get sick of people saying, oh, they've changed, I don't know what to do. Well, then you're probably not going to be effective. So want to ask you a few questions about this generation of kid, and want to know how you think they're the same, and then ways you think they've changed. So the kid you're coaching now as opposed to 25 years ago.
Okay. I think they're the same because they still demand things from a coach, and that's what I want. I want them to know they get the best out of me because I want to get the best out of them. And I think they're the same because they want to be loved and told the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're different because I'll just use baseball. I mean, social media, you can get on and watch 10 different people talk about 10 different swings and be very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to teach them a system and stay in the system. And at the same time, they're getting a lot of false information. Some of it's good, but they're getting a lot of false information. And, I learned to play this game by watching, Lou Brock and Pete Rose. And that's, that's who I want them to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get a lot of information.
That's something Dustin and I have talked a lot about, where we have a cheesy 3 C's thing on how to coach and skills you need to have. And the first one's competent, of you got to know what you're talking about. But even more, you got to understand to be able to combat all the bad information out there. Because
Amen.
I think it's the best marketer wins online, and they may not know crap.
Exactly.
That can be really hard. And then I had one more. I'm going to ask you again, because I already asked you, but I'm curious as we talk if it's changed at all. Because I had this question I sent you of, how have you changed your leadership style over the last decade?
You're going to think I'm lying, but I don't really think I have a lot. My wife and I, we have 7 kids. So I try to also look at them, and we all say it like they're our own, but I think if you treat them like they're your own, I think that helps. So as I became a parent, that became more important to me too.
Mm-hmm. I think the piece you have going for you is you're so dang authentic. And I just think that gets buy-in from people if you're comfortable in your own skin and don't budge.
I appreciate that.
And well, if you could go back and give your 25-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
Again, I feel it's just cliche, but to enjoy every bit of it. And that's the good and the bad. And, one thing I got good advice on when I was young is to always take notes. And I got a diary that I keep, and, I write things down. So I want to be a constant learner. So, maybe when I first got in, I thought I knew more than I really did. And, but I want to be a constant learner and write things down. And I, like I said, I keep a journal, I keep a diary, whatever you want to call it. And I love learning things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good stuff. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges I find of how quickly, in a good way, can we get young coaches to realizing they don't know what they don't know and just get curious?
Yep.
Like that's a challenge.
And it's okay. It's okay to say you don't know it too. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, it almost
and
makes you more effective when you tell people you don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I text you my AD questions.
And half the time I say, I don't know. All right. Well, we always end these conversations with, we call it a rapid fire round. So you got no more than 30 seconds to answer any of these questions. So ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is a book or books you've given most as a gift, and why?
I haven't really given it as a gift because I've never had money because I'm raising 7 kids on a coach's salary. But I would recommend the Dean Smith book. It was by far the best book I've ever read.
Yeah, I've read it. I agree. How has a past failure set you up for success later on?
Because I've used it as a learning tool, and not as a prideful thing.
Yeah. How do you define success in your work?
I'm gonna start with that story you told at the beginning. It's seeing your players come back and thanking you. I know I got 30 seconds, but I've never had a player come back and say, "Coach, I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard." But I've had a lot have come back with regrets and say, "I wish I would have done this," or whatever. And so, it's that.
Yeah, right on. This one's especially for you. I added in for today is what makes you so dang cool?
I don't feel I have zero coolness. And that's, I have no answer for that one.
Last one. What new belief, behavior, or habit has most improved your life in the last 5 years?
I'll go back to, I read a book by Rick Pitino, and it talks about a 1-day contract. And I think, trying to organize a lot of kids, varsity, JV, administrator, is to go in with every day with a 1-day contract. And I think that has really, really helped me.
I like that. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Absolutely. I'm honored to do it.
All right. Cool. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Kirk.
Yes, sir. See you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Beyond Coaching. Beyond Coaching is a podcast developed and produced by the Impactful Coaching Project with the support of Friends University. The Impactful Coaching Project seeks to develop coaches that coach the whole person and is the thought leader in coaching the 21st century athlete. The Impactful Coaching Project produces training, information, and research to help coaches improve. To see more information, go to impactfulcoachingproject.substack.com. Thank you.